Toronto is home to Canada's big five banks, managing over $6 trillion in assets. It is also home to the Toronto Stock Exchange, the ninth largest stock exchange in the world by market cap, trading over $3.5 trillion annually. More than 230,000 people work in the financial services here, making it the highest concentration for finance jobs in all of North America. This isn't just Canada's Wall Street, it's one of the most influential financial sectors in the world, driving fintech, capital markets, banking, and innovation at a scale that surprises many. And at the heart of it all, Ontario's booming fintech ecosystem.
The word that comes to mind in describing the Ontario fintech ecosystem is vibrant. 60% of fintechs in Canada are actually based in Ontario. So a vibrant ecosystem of companies that are innovating in the space.
Fintechs themselves have had a lot of success in raising private capital. Just in the past year, we've had Coho, I think they raised 190 million. We had Brim Financial, they raised, I think it was 80 to 90 million. And these are recent fundraising rounds. So this isn't, this is post-pandemic, this is within the last 12 months. And those are just a few examples of some of the fintechs that are in Ontario that have seen great success.
I think the whole fintech space, the whole ecosystem has not only matured, but I think accelerated dramatically from my standpoint over the last few years. COVID definitely had a role to play because I think the whole digitization of money and every other service just accelerated per se.
Toronto is the second largest financial center in North America after New York. But what makes this city so special? Why should startups consider expanding here? Toronto has given birth to nearly 1,500 fintech companies. Together, they have raised over $9.3 billion in venture capital and private equity. So what makes Toronto a global magnet for fintech founders?
Toronto is one of North America's biggest fintech hubs. It's one of the largest cities in the continent. All of Canada's largest banks are headquartered in Toronto. And that makes it a lot easier if you are a fintech founder to be able to build relationships with those banks. That sort of will help you scale faster because if people see that you as a fintech are partnered or collaborating with one of the larger, more established banks, that helps you build trust and scale faster. Globally, I think Canada has a really, really strong reputation of having a stable financial system. That is probably one of our biggest differentiators. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got a really educated, really tech-savvy workforce. And so that generally means that Canadians are more open and willing to try solutions that are being built from startups, being built from fintechs.
The subtle mindset shift, the cultural shift, which is, in most of the spaces, fintechs are seen as a disruptor or a threat to the established financial system. What I see in Toronto is actually the other way around. The large banks or the insurance providers, they're pretty much embraced their fintech space. It's more like in collaboration. So they're trying to kind of make this happen in collaboration with the big boys out there. And you see banks running innovation labs. You see them sponsoring these startup events because they're pretty much are the accelerators making it happen now. So they're no longer competing. They're no longer a threat. Which I think is extremely important and gives that tailwind that is needed to make it important. So,
and I think Canada and kind of Ontario in general is quite unique from a sense of inclusivity. I've been in Canada and Toronto over the last 10 years. I'm always pleasantly surprised, even shocked at how inclusive this community is from an entrepreneurial factor, from a partnership factor, and that's not something that you typically see in other markets.
Ontario is a very unique place, right? First of all, we have absolutely amazing tech scene here. A lot of companies, lots of different things happening. We also have a lot of support for new startups, so incubators, accelerators. So everything focused, to kickstart these new entrepreneurs, right?
I think the other real opportunity here that I notice as an American is the diversity. And that's such an opportunity for companies that are coming into this market to be able to test their concepts, not just with one narrow segment, but a broad range of demographics, firmographics, behaviors, motivations, attitudes that can help to enrich the offering for a community.
According to Mercer's 2024 Quality of Living City ranking, Toronto ranks 13th globally and 2nd in North America for newcomers. This city thrives on diversity. With over 250 ethnicities and 190 languages, Toronto lives its motto. Diversity is our strength. And it gets better. Canada is the most educated country in the world as of 2025. Toronto ranks number 4 for tech talent in North America. Translation: startups can build world-class teams locally, from data scientists to product marketers.
At Float, we've learned a lot about the regulatory and compliance environment here, and I think it gives us a competitive advantage compared to other players who may be entering the space. So the cautionary tale there is really understand deeply the regulatory environment here, understand policy. That's a huge opportunity as you're entering a market like Canada. It's not just a copy-paste from the US, and when startups really understand that, I think they really kind of embed and immerse themselves in what's going on in the ecosystem, what's going on from a policy perspective. It can serve their ultimate customers a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. That regulations are extremely important here to Canada, and a lot of big companies which were successful in other countries failed here in Canada. Some of them because of the regulations, some of them because of the ecosystem. How Remitby was able to navigate all of that, we definitely took it serious from the very beginning, right? So we made a lot of investment to comply with all the government regulations, getting certified, getting all our compliance, AML in place, and we're keep investing to keep everything up to date. You can't just register business in Canada and start dealing with customers' money because for certain regulations, right? So it's harder, it requires extra investment, extra research, extra resources from you to get started. On the other hand, if you kind of passed all of that, you are entering the ecosystem, which is very kind of trustworthy. Here in Canada, most of the people assume, oh, you financial product, you certified, government audits you, you're safe. So on the one hand, yeah, you spend quite a bit of resources. On the other hand, you get this trust from the customers that you are on top of your security, data, all the regulations, and they can trust you without, having any afterthoughts.
I think the whole fear of the regulatory framework itself is a big barrier. But what I really think is, what regulatory framework is thought of as a friction, but if you do it right, if you make it part of your DNA, you can actually make it a moat. Because a lot of startups hesitate from building that in a DNA, hesitate building that in the design phase. They say, we'll solve for that later. But honestly, it's already too late by the time you are in that stage. You can't bolt it on, you have to kind of build it part of your design approach. The whole government, the regulatory environment, the academia, I think it's pretty much it's kind of a team, like a perfect team that's there.
Whether it be government grants, whether it be fantastic incubators and accelerators such as this, whether it be the angel networks, the venture capital networks, the private equity, the banking and partnership relationships, I'd say Ontario is a fantastic hub to get access to an absolute plethora of different resources and support.
Yes, the kindness of Canadians is real and it extends into all the support structures for founders. Let me tell you how. Late last year, the OSC announced initiatives to support early stage businesses in Ontario through the TestLab program. So who is the OSC and what do they do? They're a regulatory body that enforce security laws across the province of Ontario. Trying to understand the regulatory environment in Canada can be difficult, but that's where the OSC TestLab steps in by providing you with the environment to test your products and meet with experts on regulatory challenges and barriers. Beyond regulation, there's some serious funding support here. In 2023 and 2024, the NRC IRAP provided $70 million in funding to 66 SMEs. The SIF backs large-scale initiatives with a minimum funding threshold of $10 million per project. And lastly, for tailored information, founders can use the Canada Business Benefits Finder, an online tool to identify federal and provincial programs that will be the best fit for your startup. We sat down with some of our TBDC alumni and Toronto startup founders to understand what helped them succeed in growing their companies.
It's very hard. It's going to be a long journey. If you think it's going to be like an overnight success, it's never going to be that case. So just make sure that you're investing in yourself and your own well-being, but also get involved in the community. It's been super helpful for us to work with folks like TBDC to find talent and engage with the community, both from a customer perspective, from a hiring, but also positioning yourself from a brand perspective.
I think the fintech ecosystem provides the communication for entrepreneurs and financial institutions. I think the only thing which needs a higher push is I see the financial sector in the Canadian market as more conservative comparing to other markets I've experienced. It's a good thing in a sense, in the sense that it's a safer environment whenever there are crises. But if you want to be a top performer, you have to take risks as well. For me, it was looking at North America and trying to have our first customers in the US and Canada in that sense is amazing, right? There were days that I woke up and could find myself 4 hours later in center of Manhattan having a meeting, right? So it's a nearby location, you can get anywhere quite easily, and also it's a great market by itself.
Expanding your business into North America is an opportunity, but it comes with challenges. Understanding customer behavior, building trust, and finding that true product market fit. And according to CB Insights, 35% of startups fail because they never find that fit. So why not test and scale in one of the most diverse, well-regulated, and opportunity-rich markets in the world? What are some of the primary challenges fintech startups face in acquiring new customers, and how can they be overcome?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question. How do we get new customers? Any startup wants to try and solve that. I think within the fintech space specifically, one of the biggest challenges is you are going to be serving a wide range of customers, and all of those customers are going to have a very different level of financial literacy. So you're going to have some customers who are very afraid of banks. They don't like talking about their money. They are very stressed all the time. And then on the flip side, you're going to have other customers who live and breathe personal finance. They're checking their investments constantly. And, this is what they talk about at their dinner parties. I think a company that's done really, really well in this space, Ontario, one of the homegrown fintechs in Ontario, Wealthsimple. So I think they're about 10, 12 years old now, but they grew really, really quickly because they understood how important it was to help educate their potential customers. And they created content that spoke to customers at all the different financial literacy levels. And that, I think, really proved to be a really good on-ramp into their product and converting users.
Amazing organizations like Wealthsimple, amazing organizations like Coho, and the list goes on and on. I think absolutely Canada and Toronto, is a fintech hub, but we need more of those, right? So we need those next generations coming through.
The foundations are there, the attitude is there, the talent is there. But you cannot fall in love with the solution. You have to build a solution for the problem in the country or in the geography, right? So that's why you don't want to pick something built for a different problem statement and bring it to Canada. Canada is a mature financial sector, but you want to make sure that you're solving for the problem that exists in this place and not just picking up a solution and just kind of copy pasting here.
The fintechs aren't just growing, they are thriving. Over the last 2 years, I've seen a larger and larger turnout at fintech events in downtown Toronto. There are more people who are interested in getting into the industry. There's a lot of hope, there's a lot of optimism for companies that are in this space. And I think that's really what motivates me and gets me excited, because I think in the past, money has been a bit of a scary topic for a lot of people. And fintech companies have the power to change that and make that subject a lot more approachable and a lot more relatable for people in their day-to-day lives.
So if you're building the future of fintech, the question isn't why come to Toronto? The question is why haven't you already? Join TBDC, where we've helped over 9,000 startup founders make their dreams come true. Visit our website for more information today.